Hello and welcome to Rock Paper Shotgun. I've spent the last 4 days on my belly crawling through the virtual soil of Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint for our eventual review. That's coming next week, but I thought I'd share some quick tips that have helped me enjoy the game that little bit more. From easy skill points to quick XP to finding the best sniper rifle and getting around the island quickly. Hopefully all of this would help. I've put time codes to specific tips in the description, but I'd obviously love it if you watched the whole video, and I'd be even happier if you gave it a like and a subscribe if you find it useful. Now, onwards! I'm going to start with the cheesiest tip I have because it gives you some juicy toys right from the start, and Breakpoint does get better the more toys you have. It's all about robbing the Behemoth sites, the ones guarded by the game's toughest drones. Now, the idea is to power up your gear and murder these giant killbots to gain access to their loot towers, but you can sneak in with a really low level character. To do this you need the Panther class, which you can unlock with your first skill point. If you unlock something else, don't worry, just use another skill point. This gives you access to the cloaking spray, which hides you from drones, and you can probably see where this tip is going. Ironically, the drone can't see where you are going. The spray only lasts 60 seconds, so you want to be quite close to the loot before applying it. I like to travel in by vehicle, park just outside the drone's line of sight, and then crouch walk towards the tower. Apply the spray when you are within 100 meters of the steps, and you can run over, run up the stairs, loot the crate on the first floor, and then climb the ladder to reach the higher crate. If you do this early on, it's an amazing way to collect loads of skill points and some rare weapon blueprints, and the skill points are very helpful for speeding up leveling, which is another reason to rob these big stupid robots early on. Suck it, technology, you'll never be a match for my anti-robot Lynx deodorant. Once you've reached Auroa, you'll have a handy helicopter outside. I'd take that for a trip around all the Behemoth sites and rob them before even starting any main missions. And if you run out of cloaking spray, just camp at a bivouac spot to restock. Easy. Follow my first tip and you'll have heaps of skill points to spend, opening up a huge chunk of the skill tree. Personally, I focus on things that speed up XP gain early on, so that you gain even more skill points. To start with, buy experience upgrade for a 20% boost to XP, nice and obvious. Then I'd buy a parachute to open up the next tier of the skill tree. From here I buy the Pistolero perk, which gives a 40p XP gain on pistol kills. Do remember to equip it on the main loadout screen. It goes in this slot here. A single pistol shot to the head will kill any human enemy, 2 shots if they're wearing a helmet, so it's quite easy to stick with it while taking on smaller patrols or clearing out bases with lots of buildings and cover. Not only does it give a big XP bonus, but it lets you pretend to be Benicio del Toro in Sicario, which is always cool. Now you need to buy another perk slot, these icons over here. With that done, I'd buy Recon Mastery. This is a drone perk, so add it to your new perk slot, which gives boosts to XP gain that you get from spotting enemies. Just flying your drone over an enemy base will see that XP come rolling in. Slightly inflated in this video as I had an XP booster on, but it's still juicy. You just have to get into the habit of using your drone to spot everyone. Using your sniper scope, for example, won't give you any XP gain. Yes, it's silly whipping a drone out for just 2 guys, but don't throw away free XP. With the experience upgrade, Pistolero and Recon Mastery, you can really climb through the ranks. Another quick way to boost your XP gain is to make sure you always have an XP booster working from the bivouac. You do this by setting up camp, there's one in Auroa if you've not found any more, and selecting preparations. Yes, it's only a 10% boost for an hour, but it's more worthwhile than the other stat boosts early on. One thing to mention, if you die, the boost will deactivate, and you'll have to hop back to a camp for more. Don't worry, I'll explain how to get more camps in a second. Less of a tip and more of lifestyle advice, with all these XP boosts working, it might be worth spending some time on the ground rather than flying. Think of all those skulls you aren't shooting when you're hovering up in the air. Spend a couple of hours moving between points of interest on the ground, and you'll run into loads of little groups to shoot with your pistol, and you'll be finding sites to loot, thus speeding up your entire gear score improvement. While I think you should spend time on the ground, I also think you should make it one of your first jobs to unlock bivouac sites all over the island, as they work as fast travel sites and make the whole game much less of a chore. Once you've reached Auroa, you gain access to the helicopter just parked outside. Hop in and aim for the pillars of smoke you see over the map. These tell you where there are campsites to discover. Once you reach the smoke, you need to descend until the campsite is discovered. You won't need to land, but you won't unlock it just by flying through the smoke. Now you just need to leapfrog from smoke to smoke and you'll unlock a network of fast travel points. The only thing you have to watch out for are SAM sites that will try and shoot you down in more dangerous regions. Just drop to the tree line to lose their tracking or any missiles and carry on your way. You can also identify bivouac sites from the ground using your drone. You just fly up and aim the camera at the smoke. But I found it sometimes wouldn't identify the smoke, maybe it was out of range, so I prefer the helicopter approach. Another benefit to touring the map is discovering points of interest. These appear as question marks, unless you've turned them off in the options because you're more hardcore, in which case, why the hell are you watching a beginner's tips video? Weird. If you fly close to these points or point your drone at them, you can find out what they are, but more usefully, looking at them on the world map shows exactly what loot they hold, from blueprints and skill points to the gear inside the random crates. It's only a quick tip, but it's worth doing this to see if the facility is actually worth infiltrating to begin with. Focus on the stuff you actually want to get, and Breakpoint stays much fresher for longer. Breakpoint is clearly made for co-op, so no one will judge a single player for wanting to swing things in their favour. If you get tired of sneaking into enemy bases and picking off people one by one, then watching them all respawn the moment you die, you could use this violent helicopter technique. For this, I use the Mark II rocket helicopter. You can add it to your garage by buying from the Auroa shop. It does cost a lot of skill credits, but there's nothing else you should be using them on in the early stages of the game. I picked this helicopter as it has homing rockets, which are handy in aerial battles. First, you need to fast travel to the campsite nearest your target. This is why I recommend unlocking them early. Use the bivouac and go to the garage to spawn the helicopter near your campfire. Once you've flown to the base, you need to prioritise targets. The most important one to get is the guy who calls for reinforcements, as this brings enemy helicopters and they can be a pain. 2 ways to pick him out. Fire a missile and alert the guards, and when he calls for reinforcements, you'll see his radar symbol blinking on the map. Feed him a missile to cancel the call. If this feels too panicky, you can park the helicopter and use the drone to spot him in advance. Then, feed him a missile instead. With no threat of reinforcements, you can strafe the base with missile fire. I like to pick off snipers, then the machine gun turrets, and then the armoured minigun guys, as they can do the most damage from afar. If little drones fly up to see you, you can lock on by hovering over them, or just try and cut them up with your helicopter rotor blades. It's not sensible, but it is kind of fun. Keep dropping missiles until there is no red fog of war on the map, as this is what shows you if there are still enemies about. Land and enjoy the spoils of war, and fly to the next base. While I do use that helicopter trick when I just want to get in and out, I mostly play as a sniper. The game's huge environments are great for long-distance serial killers. For my money, or skill credits, the best rifle is the TAC-50 because of its killer range. If you are sick of waiting for enemies to drop a TAC-50, you want to find its blueprint so you can buy it in the Auroa shop. It will spit one out to match your current gear level. To find the blueprint, you need to go to Maunganui Port in Sunken Clipper Bay in Smuggler's Cove. It's here on the map. And you'll find it inside this crate. It has an amazing range as it is, but to push it even further you want to find the bipod attachment. It can be found in fuel storage in the Seal Island, which is here on the map. Clear this location out, using a helicopter if you want, and you'll find it in this crate, clearly marked when you were in the base. Attach the bipod in gunsmith mode, you attach it down here in the bottom corner, and your range takes another jump. To push its stats even further you want to upgrade it. Breakpoint has an unusual upgrade system, as upgrading a gun upgrades any future version you find of it too. To fill in these upgrade slots, you need materials from dismantling other guns. Annoyingly, there's not a dismantle all button, you have to do them one by one. Unless you are attached to a specific model, I'd get into the habit of dismantling every gun that you aren't currently using to work through the upgrades of the models you do want to use. In order to upgrade to Mark II and Mark III weapons, you do need to unlock that on the skill tree first, just down here. but it's worth doing as every version of the TAC 50 I buy from the shop or find in the wild now has these upgrades. If you want to push the TAC 50 or any weapon even further, I'd use the third and final perk slot for Ballistic Advantage. It adds 60 to range, which pushes the TAC 50 as far as it can possibly go. You'll still need to count for bullet drop when you go beyond 300 meters, unless you use the sharpshooter's armor buster ability, which basically negates it. There's a really good video on calculating bullet drop for various weapons that I'll link to in the description. And those are the tips that have got the game moving a bit faster for me. You'll be unlocking more skills and getting to the weapons you want in no time. Of course, there are loads of ways to approach the game, so do share any of your own Breakpoint tips in the comments. It'll be a big tips party, fun for all. And if you found this video useful, please do say something nice in the comments and subscribe to the channel. We do everything from tips to reviews to let's plays, all on PC games. Thanks for watching, and have fun crawling about in the virtual mud. Bye for now.